I'll date myself here, but I kind of came into my career right as organizations were starting to use things like email, right? And so I wasn't really prepped in that world, and I think that was more of when I came into the workforce more than was a lack of preparation on my on from the school I went to. But I think a lot of things really did prepare me. I think the ability to give presentations. I did a lot of that in school. Standing up in class, I remember I hated it. I hated public speaking. I hated doing anything like that. But I have to do that every single day as part of my job, whether it's one-on-one, communicating with someone, or giving a presentation to a really large audience. I think that's a huge part that was really helpful. I think that collaboration and working in teams that we talked about was really helpful because a lot of times in the workplace, you're put into a team that you're not choosing, and I remember when my professors would do that and I'd be like, oh, I got stuck with that person. And that's really helpful in real life because you don't pick your team. You don't pick your project team that you're working with to deliver something to the client. You don't pick the clients that you work with. You might have some that are really difficult. And so I think getting that experience of working with people you might not choose is really extremely helpful. Yeah, and then just the practice of writing. Every research paper I did, a lot of what I do market research. So I'm doing a lot of presentations, and I'm doing a lot of writing. Whether it's writing a long proposal or writing an industry article about what's going on in the workplace. Things like that. I think school really helped me prepare for that.
Definitely my English courses in college and high school did a huge part of forming me being able to professionally write the way that I do. My major additionally was, my focus at school was a lot around communication and how to properly document things and how to properly communicate your ideas. That I think went a long way to helping me not write not just in a proper professional voice, but in a good technical writing style. That I think can be pretty huge, especially in software.
Well, I went to school in Italy until the end of high school. And then I went to college in Philly, went to Penn, and then I got my MBA here in Chicago. Lots from the undergraduate, just essay writing classes. I actually find studying philosophy in undergrad was really helpful because it helps you organize your thoughts and think about how you're expressing things and how you're building your argument. Which can be very helpful for clarity and specificity. And then business school has a lot of classes that's just specifically about that. I also think some things in some classes were just great tips and around communication that I've gleaned, especially from business school, to be honest, that are just super helpful. I have a professor who teaches this thing. He teaches a class called entrepreneurial selling. And one of the things he teaches is purpose benefit check. And it's just, you're talking to people and you say things like, so we're just going to go over this the objective of this meeting is to go over this document so that we're all on the same page. Does that sound good? And people say, yeah. And that really helps to just get people comfortable with what you're going to do and just kind of aligned. It's a good little trick.
I think whatever education you're getting, a lot of it is what you make of it. For me, I was very fortunate in that that I had my own small business in college, and I was able to apply what I was learning in college day to day to what I was doing in the real world. And that combination was the key for me, I think, more than anything else.
There's an insane gap between sort of professional experience and what you learn sort of in the lab at school. What I think is very, in hindsight, very navel-gazy, in the weeds, not even academic, but very artsy-fartsy academic, design stuff. It's useful. Obviously, it's useful. This is the heart and soul of what a designer does. You have to be able to take an abstract concept and turn it into something that's visual or present, it's communicating something. But that's fine. But once you come up with that, then you have to sell that idea. I would think that if I ever got a gig teaching something in design, I think my first attempt at a class, whether or not it would be sort of approved or greenlit or whatever, would be basically handing out a brief to the students individually and then have them come up with a presentation and then present to me. It's useful in real life.
I was a music major for my first year year and a half, and then I ended up switching to business management. And so all of the typical stuff helped. I don't think you need to have even a high school education to know how to communicate, respectfully to people. And it's funny, for the longest time after school, I kept like the writing, like this writing handbook that I had gotten in some class at some point. And I would go back and look at it and be like, okay, this is how to do things. And I think it really came in helpful for like resume writing and things of that nature. But now I don't. I just go with what I know.